Here's your shot at winning $1,000. Text the national keyword check right now to 95819. That's CHECK to 95819. We'll text you back to confirm your entry. Data and messaging rates may apply. Please don't text and drive. It's $5K a day on WMAL. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
I believe Eric Erickson is referring to the No Kings rallies as Boomer Selma.
That's perfect.
They gotta have their marches. They gotta have their protests. But the Tea Party movement, which we were involved with, totally organic, totally came out of nowhere, totally embraced patriotism, and we were absolutely destroyed.
Harassed,
in the
intimidated,
media,
bullied. Yeah, absolutely.
Obama's IRS,
That's
went
right.
after us, and
That's right.
it's amazing how these things come around.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up in 30 minutes, we'll check in with the sheriff of Frederick County, Chuck Jenkins, and then at 8:05, Virginia Delegate Ian Lovejoy facing off against Elizabeth Guzman. Really important race that we're watching there in Virginia. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock, who's back from her jury duty and her time off. And
Good morning.
good morning to you. Joining us now is Joe diGenova, legal analyst, former U.S. Attorney, the District of Columbia. What did you do for your No Kings March over the weekend, Joe? Did you have a good time watching?
We were celebrating my wife's birthday, and we have a 1-week celebration for each birthday. So we ignored the march.
Very nice.
Smart.
By the way, ironically, yesterday was the anniversary of Cornwallis surrendering to George Washington in Yorktown. I mean, literally the first of the No Kings protests. And now they're tearing down statues of George. The same people out there screaming No Kings would tear down the guy who relinquished us from the monarchy in England. It's amazing the way these things happen. Joe, good morning. Your reflection on the indictment of John Bolton last week.
Well, even a cursory review of the indictment indicates that it's a very serious matter. It's very, very detailed in the way it describes the information that he transmitted to two people, his wife and his daughter, who had no clearances. He claims they were so-called diary entries. Now, it's very interesting. He uses that phrase because in the law and under Supreme Court precedent, diaries enjoy a very special privacy protection. But that's not going to do him any good because your diary is usually written to yourself and no one else knows about it. So he was transmitting things to his wife and his daughter, and the text and email exchanges that go along with them indicate quite clearly that they knew things were going on that shouldn't be going on, like the wife and daughter shushing and silencing him from talking about things in detail. Mm-hmm. So I think the indictment is solid. He'll get a fair trial. Whether or not he's convicted, who knows? I mean, it's in Maryland. You have goofy jury pool there, just like you have a goofy jury pool in the Eastern District of Virginia. So we'll see. It's a serious indictment, and God bless him.
This is a pattern of behavior within these deep state weenies, though, because James Comey, what was released to the New York Times through his friend that he brought in as a temporary consultant to the FBI, right, so he could hand him classified top secret information. Those were also diary entries that James Comey wrote to himself after meeting with then President-elect Donald Trump. It's almost like they all are playing from the same rule book there, Joe.
Well, the problem with James Comey's diary entries and John Bolton's is that they are not diary entries. They are government documents. They were generated while they were on duty about matters of public duty that they were a party to. In both cases, in the Comey case and in the Bolton case, those were classified documents. They had no right to keep them, retain them in their residence, or give them to even their lawyers. So the question, is really the patronizing way in which both Bolton and Comey deal with the presidency covers the fact that both of them were part of a coup d'etat. Now, you generally think of a coup d'etat as when people are storming the ramparts and they have guns and muzzles are firing and they're storming the Bastille. The coup that started against Donald Trump, of which Comey and Bolton were a part, involved the new warfare, which is the warfare of false information, rumors, lies, and smears. beginning in 2016. That's when it all started, and it continues to this day.
Yeah, Joe, if you were Comey or Bolton's lawyer, would you advise them to settle, to try to come to, because, I mean, from what I've read, they really are in trouble. And if this, goes forward, they could spend some time in jail. What would your advice be to them?
Well, certainly in Bolton's case, I would advise him to negotiate a deal. Now, remember, Bolton is very arrogant, very self-centered, pompous. He thinks he's smarter than everybody in the room, no matter who it is. It could be Albert Einstein, and he would think that he was smarter than the person in the room. So I think Bolton has a really serious reason to negotiate. Comey's in a different ballpark. Comey is clearly somebody who has violated the law repeatedly while FBI director and subsequently to being FBI director. The difference is he's in a different jurisdiction, and he's in a jurisdiction where he has very, very good friends in the form of a Biden judge, a very, very government employee-laden jury pool from which to select a jury. I think he's going to have a better chance, although I think the case against Comey is solid. He clearly lied to Congress. That they may try to make distinctions about, well, he didn't mean this, he meant that, and the other thing. Bottom line is he clearly misled Congress and obstructed a proceeding by preventing them from finding the truth about how information got out and got to the press. So we'll see. I think Comey would never negotiate a deal. It's not within his brain. It's also not within Bolton's brain, but Bolton has better reasons to negotiate a deal.
Well, and Joe, just really quickly, I to be honest with you, I live in Alexandria. I was shocked they came back with an indictment on Comey, given the political sort of leanings of that community. So who knows? Maybe we will see a
ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Ham sandwich. Joe, real fast, 2 weeks from tomorrow, as you know, is Election Day in Virginia, and we've been tracking this story with mail-in ballots. At first, we're encouraged, relentlessly, endlessly, to mail in your ballot or put your ballot in the drop box. Okay, fine. And even Republicans are saying, yeah, do that. It's better for us. We don't have to spend money tracking you down. It's better for our resources. Okay, fine. But then you fold up your ballot as instructed. You put it in the envelope, and lo and behold, there's a hole in the envelope that they give you that shows not just that there's a ballot in there, but it shows exactly who you voted for Attorney General. This is also happening in California. Again, shockingly, it shows exactly how you voted in the ballot initiative that Governor Hairgel out there, Newsom, has initiated for redistricting. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but Joe, at what point do we sort of take some kind of legal action to clean up how these elections are done?
Well, as you will recall, Jimmy Carter, our former president, had a commission which he co-chaired with Barbara Jordan, and James Baker, our famous former Secretary of State, in which they analyzed voting in the United States. And their conclusion was that the least secure form of voting was mail-in balloting. And there was a reason for that. It's because throughout the process of mailing in a ballot, there are about 20 steps at which the process can be corrupted. And so what happens when, like in a state in California, you don't ask for a ballot, they mail it out to you. This is what we call mail-out balloting. And that's what's happening all over the country. People don't ask for a ballot. Our son in Vermont got 3 ballots mailed to him at his residence. So the security of this system is ludicrous. Mail-in balloting is a recipe for fraud. There's no other answer to it. And the reason Democratic states are following it, because it is an opportunity for fraud.
Joe diGenova, always great to talk to you, sir. Thanks for joining us today.
Joe.
You bet.
We'll catch you on the flip side, as they say. It's 7:15, WMAL.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939. Your next $1,000 could be one text away. It's $5K a day on WMAL.
Of course, we're all over the elections in Virginia coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow. Early voting going on as we speak. And we've been focusing on the statewide races, of course. We've got some polls that we'll share with you coming up in a bit. But first, I want to isolate one district in particular, House District 22. It's a spirited race between Delegate Ian Lovejoy and Democrat Elizabeth Guzman. Ian Lovejoy is going to join us at 8:05. I want you to hear the latest ad that he has put out reminding you who Elizabeth Guzman is. Take a listen.
As a mom, parental rights are very important to me. I don't want politicians telling me what's best for my child, and that's why I'm not voting for Elizabeth Guzman. Guzman sponsored legislation to investigate parents who refuse to change their child's gender. The liberal push to perform sex changes on children is dangerous, and Elizabeth Guzman is leading the charge. She won't get this mom's vote.
I'm Ian Lovejoy, candidate for delegate, and my campaign sponsored this ad.
Yeah, in 2022, she had legislation that she was introducing in Richmond that would create a felony child abuse charge against any parent in Virginia who did not affirm the gender confusion of their child.
Wicked. It's just absolutely diabolical. And she introduced this bill. It would have added refusing to transition your child, to medicalize them, to cause them irreparable harm, to mutilate your child. It would have added that to the list of things where, you know, a state official can come in and take your child. But it would also, again, levy a felony charge on you. You could go to jail. You could be tied up in the courts. Your children could be gone for years while you're tied up with this sort of with the courts. Absolutely terrifying.
You get charged with child abuse
Yep.
if you don't agree to have chemical or surgical procedures done on your child to render them sterile.
If you don't call them the name that they prefer. So if Jack wants to go to jail, if you don't abide by that, by what your 13-year-old wants, what your 10-year-old wants, you go to jail.
Let's listen to it's a very powerful ad. I want to
It
play
is.
at least the first part of it here. This is Ian Lovejoy's ad. Listen.
As a mom, parental rights are very important to me. I don't want politicians telling me what's best for my child, and that's why I'm not voting for Elizabeth Guzman. Guzman sponsored legislation to investigate parents who refuse to change their child's gender. The liberal push to perform sex changes on children is dangerous.
Yeah, you know,
and Elizabeth Guzman...
It's actually understates it. It wasn't just investigating parents. She actually had legislation that would have made it a criminal felony. She told Nick Minock that on camera until
Proudly.
the entire party, you know, then realized, oh, you can't say that out loud. We bury things like that in
That's right.
legislation. Guzman. Here's Elizabeth Guzman's latest ad against Ian Lovejoy. I could have written this myself. You don't even need AI to write this. It's all from the same playbook. Listen.
He's attacking our jobs, our healthcare, our rights, and Ian Lovejoy's helping him do it. Lovejoy is supporting Trump as he cuts Medicaid and fires federal workers. Ian Lovejoy even supported banning abortion with no exceptions for a woman's health. Elizabeth Guzman is fighting back. A mother of 4 and social worker, she'll protect our schools, jobs, and healthcare.
I'm Elizabeth Guzman, candidate for delegate. I sponsor this ad because we have to stop the MAGA extremists.
Have to stop the MAGA extremists. Oh, I'm sorry, MAGA.
Yeah. It's Jay Jones all again. You know, it's that debate with Mayeris where Jay Jones mentioned Trump like 300 times and didn't talk at all about Virginia victims. This is all Guzman has. She's anti-Trump.
Trump and abortion. Trump and abortion.
And trans and kids. That's it.
Yeah. And listen, it'll be a good bellwether to see how voters in Prince William County are positioned now on issues like this. Because I don't know. As I said after the debate last week, Jay Jones's strategy is obvious. He's going to not apologize for anything that he's done in any real significant way. Standing on a stage and saying, I've taken accountability when you're still in the race, still raising money, and literally have not done anything. What's the accountability for Jay Jones that his poll numbers dropped? Oh, it's terrible. Poor guy. Instead, he just pivots and says Trump. And as I said last week, it may work. It may be enough, Julie. It may be enough to get people out in Northern Virginia to come and vote for Democrats because all they care about is Trump. And meanwhile, you'll have somebody like Elizabeth Guzman in Richmond who's making it child abuse if you don't go along with your 8-year-old who, for one reason or another, believes that God made a mistake when creating them.
Yeah, I encourage people to look at Guzman's, her donations as well. I mean, it's environmental interest, and all sorts of Democrat organizations giving to her. Not totally surprising, but it is, and stuff coming in from out of state. It's that same playbook as Spanberger. She's a real danger to parents. People need to understand that if Guzman gets in, they will pursue this. If they hold the House of Delegates, they will pursue this. And parent rights are 100% on the line.
That's right. And they'll have Abigail Spanberger to sign it into law.
That's right.
And they'll have Jay Jones to come after you and prosecute you.
That's right.
That's what's on the ballot. Ian Lovejoy will join us at 8:05. Right now it's 7:23.
Coming up, we'll talk to Frederick County Sheriff Chuck Jenkins. Keep it here, 7:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:36 this Monday morning in your nation's capital, 20th day of October. President Trump still the president of the United States. The left still unhinged and radicalized post No Kings protest. And Jane Goodall still dead. Just up to date on everything. And also Sigourney Weaver still hot.
And Jennifer Gray's nose is still
unrecognizable.
Weird. Yes, there we go. I think we've covered
Georgia
everything.
Maloney. Nobody puts Georgina in a corner. You're up to speed. If you missed our first 2.5 hours, that's pretty much all we've talked about. Coming up at 8:05, Virginia delegate Ian Lovejoy. That's Julie Gunlock back from jury duty.
I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I was never called. You could tell. They were like, oh, Gunlock. No way.
Yeah. Honestly, working at WMAL is like the get out of jury duty free card. Honestly, just tell them what you do. Yeah, you're dismissed. Thank you very
you're done.
Joining us right now is the sheriff of Frederick County, Chuck Jenkins, friend of the program, friend of Law and Order everywhere, and enemy of the bad guys. That's why we like him. Hey, Sheriff Jenkins, good to talk to you.
Good morning.
So, Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown, there's a sentence that's always fun to say, has now issued what he's calling guidance to police departments, 11-page document telling you what you must do, may do, and must not do with regard to interaction to federal authorities, including not being able to ask a suspect's immigration status or extend a suspect's detention to determine their immigration status or work with ICE. I mean, it's obviously this is Antifa coming out of Annapolis and trying to tell you what you can do as sheriff. Does this apply to sheriffs and their deputies?
Absolutely, it does. So I'll tell you this. The whole focus of this 11-page memo is, again, the immigration enforcement, working with ICE. Of course, working with other federal agencies has always been fine, right? Until it comes to immigration enforcement, then it's a no-no. But this is a pretty strong memo. It does apply to all law enforcement in Maryland. However, it does not stop me from my current 287G program.
Remind everybody what the 287G program is. If they're wondering why things are so safe and orderly in Frederick County when they drive in from Prince George's or Montgomery County, it's the 287G program in many respects.
That's for sure. This is a land of pleasant living up here, Larry. And for 8 years, we have partnered with ICE, working to identify individuals who have broken the law in our county, have been brought into our jail, and turned over to ICE for eventual removal or deportation. And it's worked wonderfully. Over 18 years, I think roughly pushing 1,900 criminals are gone from our county. And how good is that?
And many of Maryland's counties have signed on to this 287 agreement to work with ICE. That's up from last year, isn't that correct?
That's correct. So I was the first, and we are the longest-standing 287G program of any sheriff's office in the country. And then along about 10 years after us, Harford County jumped on board, then Cecil County. And now last year, I think 4 other sheriff's offices across the state have signed on to a lesser version of 287G, but nevertheless they work with ICE to again, identify individuals that are in the country illegally, that are criminals.
Anthony Brown's been the Attorney General going on 3 years now, And I don't remember any piece of legislation coming out of Annapolis by the House of Delegates or by the state Senate that changed in some way guidance to law enforcement or legislating what law enforcement can or cannot do with federal authorities and with ICE agents. So is this Anthony Brown just deciding willy-nilly, I'm going to change the rules of engagement and I'm going to decide because I'm Attorney General? Because that sounds kind of king-like, Sheriff Jenkins.
Well, so the two reasons for this. Number one is what's going on with the Trump administration and the strong enforcement efforts across the country. So, again, they're going to try to stop this in Maryland to the extent they can. The other thing is, Larry, last year there was legislation in the state of Maryland attempting to outlaw any participation in 287G. Sheriffs across the state got together. We effectively stopped that, but it's going to come back this year with a vengeance. And, again, they're going to try to force by law to end the program.
That's Nicole Williams from Prince George's County, by the way. If anyone's listening and lives in her legislative district, she's the one who's spearheading this, if I remember right.
And I will fight with every ounce of energy I have to keep it because I think it's good for Frederick County and frankly, very good for the state of Maryland.
So how does this change how you do your job? Let's say one of your sheriff's deputies in Frederick County encounter a suspect engaged in unlawful behavior, and there is further suspicion that they could be a criminal illegal alien. What are your deputies going to do differently today than they did yesterday?
Our deputies don't do anything on the street in regard to any immigration enforcement, question anybody as far as their immigration status, ask no questions regarding immigration or their ethnicity or where they're from. It doesn't happen in the course of our duties in law enforcement. The 287G program strictly works within the confines of the jail. After an individual has been arrested in handcuffs, brought in, that's where we, under federal authority with our program, can ask the questions about their immigration status. Only in the jail. And I wish people would really understand that.
Well, because the way Attorney General Brown has laid this out, it sounds like you're stopping people on the street on the way to get an ice cream cone or something and saying, show me your papers.
Well, that's what they've alluded to for years, Larry. It just doesn't happen. There's no law enforcement agency, and I feel very confident saying this, there's no law enforcement agency in the state of Maryland, any sheriff's office, any police department that asks any questions on the street about your immigration status. Whether it's a traffic stop, call for service, criminal incident, whatever, it does not happen. It's in our jail.
And one other quick question, though. If there is an illegal immigrant who's been arrested by one of your sheriff's deputies and they're in jail, if Casa de Maryland finds some local judge there to get an early release for this person or in some way, expedite bail, are you able to detain them until ICE shows up from the Baltimore office?
We have 48 hours. We have 48 hours after their local case has been adjudicated or they're released on bond or whatever. We have 48 hours for ICE to come pick them up. Okay. Fortunately, lucky here in Frederick, because of our relationship, we've not lost one person. They've all been turned over to ICE in our detention center in a safe, effective manner.
So Frederick continues then to be the land of happy living.
Yes, sir. It sure will.
All right. Always good to talk to you, Sheriff.
Appreciate it. With another election coming up next year, Larry.
Say it again? What?
With another election coming up next year.
With another, exactly. Yeah. All right. So enjoy it. And have you announced that you're running for re-election, Sheriff Jenkins?
I have publicly said yes, I am.
All right.
Nice.
Good to know. See,
great.
At least one sane countywide elected official in Frederick County.
Please, again, great place to be.
It is 7:44.
WMAL's Vince Colonnese, weekdays at noon on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
A rip from today's headlines, it sounds more like the script for a Hollywood thriller. The Louvre is now closed as they assess their security measures after a real live jewel heist took place at the Louvre.
Yeah.
And they stole French crown jewels dating back to the Napoleonic era. This is amazing, actually, that they would even try this, let alone succeed.
Look, I said it was jury duty.
I thought you were sporting a little extra
I'm not
going to
tell you when I become a billionaire, but there will be signs.
Well,
I might be wearing some lovely jewelry right now.
What exactly is the market for Napoleon-era crown jewels and tiaras?
Look, Larry, there is a whole hidden underground art scene of art that goes missing, that disappears. It's one of these things where it disappears for 50 years and then they find it, in some sort of police raid. There is a very thriving underground art scene. So I am sure that these people were tapped into it. They knew how to get into, and I mean, can you imagine owning Josephine's, jewels? And there's a whole bunch of weirdos who like to take art and then keep it hidden from the general public.
Based on my understanding of history, it was Josephine who owned Napoleon's jewels, if you know what I mean. The thieves used...
Were you working on that all weekend?
The thieves used a truck-mounted ladder to gain access to the Apollo Gallery, one of the ornate rooms in the Louvre. Have you been inside the Louvre?
Yes, I have.
You did? Okay. Do you know what they're talking about here with the
I have no
Apollo
idea.
room? They had tools, including an angle grinder, a blowtorch. They targeted 2 high-security display cases, and the entire operation lasted 7 minutes.
Yeah.
They got 9 items. 8 of the 9 items taken remain unaccounted for, it, including a tiara and necklace worn by Queen Marie Amélie and Queen Hortense.
This is real Thomas Crown Affair kind of stuff.
It really is.
It's really crazy. I will tell you, though, it's interesting. I was reading about this weekend and not practicing the pronunciation of people's names. And I read that they're having a real problem at the Louvre with people just the number of people who are going to the Louvre is down so much, that, I mean, there's just not enough people there keeping an eye on things, and probably not enough security guards. And also there was some sort of walkout last year.
Didn't they go on strike in the summer? They went on strike because they said too many tourists here, which is funny because as a tourist, my problem with the Louvre is too many French people. That's why attendance is down.
Do Parisians really go to the Louvre? I wonder.
Well, the workers, the people who work there.
True.
By the way, remember it was like 10 years ago when Kim Kardashian had her jewels stolen from her hotel room in Paris. Like there's this whole... She's royalty here in America.
Sure.
She got to be royalty the good old-fashioned way by stripping naked and having sex. And letting the video get released. Okay, maybe the video part is not the old-fashioned way, but everything else is pretty much...
Is that old-fashioned now?
Goes back to the antiquity days. Yeah, she was robbed at gunpoint with literally she had millions of dollars worth of jewelry on her person.
I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan.
We don't like people to be.
Well, that's true. I agree.
We don't celebrate people who are victims of.
I'm not Antifa. I get it, Larry. I just don't care.
All right. The point is, if you've got a lot of jewels, you might want to leave them home when you're traveling to Paris, because there's obviously a whole ring of jewel thieves. And you're right about the black market. The experts who know about this stuff say they're never getting these jewels back. This is
no.
If they were audacious and crafty enough to be able to break into the Louvre and carry this off, they are long gone by this time. And they're probably sitting in some Arab oil baron's basement. I mean, that's
very sad, though.
A big part of the black market for stolen art and stolen jewels is coming out of the Middle East.
It's very sad, though, because this is not just jewels that are beautiful. And this is a piece of history. This is Napoleon and Josephine. It's a very interesting time of history. And, it's sad. It's sad that this as you said, it's gone for good. I mean, someday there'll be a fire, or there'll be like a police raid, or there'll, I don't know, be a sale at Christie's, and maybe these things will reemerge. But that underground world of art collection and then keeping it to yourself is I'm certain that's where these jewels have ended up. So we won't see them in our lifetime.
I'll tell you this, the Vatican Museum, very different situation. The security at the Vatican Museum, the Swiss guards, you do not mess with them. Nice. This would not happen at the Vatican Museum. I think that obviously the Louvre needs to bone up, as it were.
What is the French? They're like, just take them.
Exactly.
Just take them.
Don't mess with my baguette. Otherwise, you can have Josephine's jewel. It's 7:53.